All right, welcome to episode 12 of the series Start With One. And in this episode, we are going to take the site that we just built in episode 11, our HTML site with our images, and we're going to put that onto the web. And at the end of this video, you should have a URL that you can share with other people and say, hey, look what I built. Now, there are two different ways I'm going to show you how to do that. One is through GitHub, which we're looking at right now, and the other way is through FTP, which is a particular sort of protocol or a way of speaking, that computers speak to each other, and it's called File Transfer Protocol, as opposed to HTTP, which is the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So we're not transferring a page, we're transferring whole files. So I'll show you how to do that, and that requires your own web hosting. So if you don't have your own web hosting, then you can probably stop at the GitHub and just use that. But if you prefer to put your files on your own web hosting so that it's whatever.com/about-me, then I'll show you how to do that. So let's get started with GitHub. You go to github.com. It's not get, it's git, github.com. And at github.com, if you don't have an account already, it's free to sign up. And so you would just sign up here, or you could sign up here at this button. I already have an account, so I'm just going to sign in. Okay, and you might come to this page here, and in order to start a new repository, we would click this green button. You also might find yourself at the profile page, which I'm not sure where it's going to land you after you sign up. But here's our repository. A repository is like a folder on a web server that holds all of your files. So I have several repositories here, and when I click on that tab, I can go into the same green button and click to start a new repository. So I'm going to do that, and our repository name, I'm just going to call it About Me, and this is About Me So the About Me website for the series Start With One, which is a good description of what this repository is for. We get a choice of making this repo public or private. If you make it private, you won't have access to a URL. If you make it public, you will have access to a URL, but that also means that other people can find it and download your files and then make changes. And if they want those changes to be live to your website, they would have to come through you first, unless you invite them to be a collaborator. So just because people can take your code doesn't necessarily mean they're going to change your code. We always want to initialize a new repository with a README. This is usually instructions or a little bit about the project. And it's the first thing that people see whenever they go to your repository page. Everything else looks good. We're just going to click the green button to create it. Okay, and now we have our repository. So this is my main profile or account name, and then this is the repository name. And you can see that the description is here. It's also sort of by default. The repo name and the description are down here. If you want to change what's written there, you can click this little button and edit what's on there. And if you wanted to edit your description up here, you could do that here. You could also, once we get a URL, you could put your website URL here. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do, by the way, if you want to learn more about GitHub, there are some really great tutorials. I'm not going to go through anything more than the basics of putting your website on here and getting it online with the URL. So that's all I'm going to cover. If you want more information about GitHub, there's lots of really great tutorials. So just look on YouTube or go out on the open web and do a search, and you'll find lots of beginner tutorials. So let's click on this here where it says upload files. And this is where we add our files to our repository. So you can choose your files this way, one at a time, or I find it easier to just drag and drop them into the project. So we have our About Me files, our index file, our assets file with the image inside of it. So I'm going to try to just drop all of these. So I would select however many files I want to put in, and then I just grab them and I drop them onto here. Now I've had an issue with the assets folder for some reason. It's saying it's too big. So I'm going to show you a workaround with that if you are having the same problem. So we'll load in our index.html, and that would be okay. Whenever you make changes on GitHub, you need to document your changes. So what did you do? That's essentially what you're doing. So usually when I'm first putting files on there, I just say this is the initial upload. And when you're ready to commit changes, it's like save or do the action. And now when it takes us back to our repo, we can see that our index.html is now in there. Now one way to get around the limitation that I'm finding with the assets folder is to just create my own assets folder. And we can do that by creating a new file. So it's going to be about me, and then I want to say assets, and then put a /, and you see how it adds that /. That's exactly what we're looking for. I might need to put something in there. Nope, I don't. Okay, so I don't need to do that. I've created my assets folder, and I'm just going to go ahead and just say but you can see it's not allowing me to do anything here, so I do need to put some sort of name in there. So once I put that in there, I'm just going to say commit. I'm not sure why it's not allowing me to do this. It's very weird. So now my assets folder has been created, and I can click into that, and I can go to this index, and I can click the delete, and it will delete that index.html file, which I shouldn't have done, I guess. So let's do that process again. I think when I took that file out, it didn't have anything else to put into that folder. So let's go ahead and upload files in. Make sure you're in the assets folder. Upload files. Maybe it'll work for you to just upload everything. And now we want to go inside the assets because we're already in it, and we'll take our image, and hopefully this will work. Okay. So we will commit those files to the repository, and now when we look inside of our assets, we have an image folder, and we also have our profile photo. So what I'm going to do now that we have something else in there is I'm going to remove that index.html. So hopefully this won't ruin everything. Okay, so now inside of our assets we have the image and our image folder, and then the profile photo. So you can see that we're now set up exactly like we want to, with our index, and then our assets with the image folder, and then our profile folder is inside that. And as long as As long as your index.html is in the same spot as your assets folder, the way that we created the URL structure is going to be, it's just going to look directly to the assets folder, and it's assuming the assets folder is right next to the index file. So you can take these files and put them anywhere in the world. As long as they're together, the website should work. So the last part is to get it online. And we go to our settings and scroll all the way down to something called GitHub Pages. So it's designed to host your personal or your organization or your project pages directly from a GitHub repository. So it acts like a web host for you. So it's currently disabled. That's the default. And we want to enable it somehow. So you can use the master branch, which is just what we've done, just sort of the default. You put your files in there, and that's what happened. You could also create a docs, DOCS folder, so that your source files are different than the files that you use to be able to display the page. So if you are using some fancy JavaScript framework like React or Angular, or you were doing pre-processing of Sass or something like that for CSS, you might want to keep all those files in your master branch and then keep only the files that have been processed, and they're your regular CSS file and JavaScript file and HTML files. Keep those in a separate folder. So that's what that's about. We're just going to choose a master branch because that's what we have. And then once we come down, you can see that your site is now ready to be published at this URL. We'll see if it takes a minute for everything to get all settled in. So I'll go through some of these. So if you have a custom domain, then you can push those. You can use that domain to connect to your master branch. It also by default requires HTTPS, which is a secure way of transferring information online. Okay, and now you can see at brianhafferkamp.github.io/about-me, my website shows up. It's just like that. And then the website files are here. Sorry. They're here in my About Me. All my files are here, but it's actually using this index.html to serve the website. Just like our browser was doing locally, now I can share this link right here anywhere in the world, and people can see my website. Just as a for instance, I'll show you. So if I go into my Twitter account, let's say I just copy this and I want to share it. So here's my link that I can share with people. If I tweet that, now I've tweeted a link, and when I click that link, it goes straight to my website. So my website is online. I can share it anywhere I want to, any way I want to, with anybody that I want to, and this is just my information. So you're actually live online. How cool is that? So GitHub, very powerful, free, and it allows you to distribute your content, whatever you want to say, allows you to distribute that for free with a link. Now, I'm going to show you a second way, which is if you have your own web hosting. So if you don't have web hosting, or you've never had a website before, then you could probably stop right now and move on to the next video. But if you want to use your own web hosting, let's say my web hosting, my main URL is highwaywebconsulting.com. And so if I wanted that to be highwaywebconsulting.com/about-me, then I can put these files onto my own web hosting. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to delete this tweet. But I just wanted to show you that it's possible right now for you to put your URL out there. Okay. what I want to do is I want this to be my URL. Okay, highwaywebconsulting.com/about me. And the way I do that is I need to create a folder in my web hosting account that's called About Me, and then I need to put those files into the folder. So this is very similar to what we just did with GitHub. It's just we're using a different interface to be able to do essentially the same thing. Now, we're going to use something called FTP, File Transfer Protocol, and this is a way of transferring files across the web from one computer to another computer. And one of the most influential pieces of software is called FileZilla, like Godzilla. So FileZilla, and it looks like this. This is the logo. If you need to download it, then you can say FileZilla download, and you should be able to go to the filezillaproject.org and then click download, and then just download FileZilla. It's free. It's very powerful. It's been sort of an industry standard for decades. So it's a stable piece of software. It doesn't look like much, but it does get the job done very well. So this is what the main interface looks like. And in order to, you have to have sort of like a username and password and credentials in order to go to the web host, to your space on the web host, and then log in essentially so that you can see your folders on the web host. So if every time you sign up for a web hosting account, they should send that information in your email. It's probably an email that you looked at and you're like, what in the world does that mean? But there should be FTP access, and it should give you all the pieces of information that you need. And the main thing you need is you need the host, which is often, whatever.com, and then you'll need a username and you'll need a password. Rarely do you need the port, but once you have those things, you can just click Quick Connect in the FTP software, and it will connect to your web hosting account and show you your folders. Now I have mine set up already with the information saved because I'm always transferring files over there. So it's here, and I've already named it what I want to name it. And so it's trying to establish a connection. It's telling me something about the FTP being secure or not. But you can see now that I have access to all the folders that are on my FTP, on my web hosting account. Now I'm going to go into public HTML, which is sort of a normal folder for like outward facing websites. And I'm going to create a new directory, and I'm going to call this About Me. And I'm going to go into the directory. Now on this side, so this side is your server. On this side is your local computer. So we need to go into our About Me right here. And you can see that we have our index.html and our assets. These are all the same things, our image, everything. And so we need to copy these files. So I'm just going to highlight everything, and I'm going to drag it right over to the server, and it's going to upload those files to my server because now I have access to everything. And then you can see these files are now on the server. Everything has been uploaded successfully. It shouldn't take very long because these are small files. And now when I go here, I can click on refresh, and my files are online. They're online at highwaywebconsulting.com/about me. Again, I can share this anywhere. I can share the same link on Twitter. So let's just copy that. And if I post it here, then I can tweet it. And when I click on that, then it goes straight to my page. My page is online on my server under my account. So whatever it is, .com. And so those are the two ways that we can take our files and we can now put them online, and you can share that URL with the world and say, hey, this is who I am. This is about me, and the beautiful part about this is that as long as you keep paying, and as long as GitHub stays up, and as long as you don't, break any of their rules, you can write what you want. You can put yourself out there and present yourself in a way that you want to. It doesn't have to fit inside of a certain box that Facebook or Google or Amazon or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, whatever those people are trying to get you to fit into, whatever pieces of information they're trying to display for you, you can now break out of that box, and you can share with them whatever you want to share with people. You can share your thoughts on things. You can share just who you are, your background, photos of yourself, as many photos as you want. You could just keep lining up photos on here. So, and we're going to make this look better using CSS, and we're going to make it perform better using some different techniques too as we go along. But right now, you've made a website. It's in HTML. It's being displayed to the world. And that, to me, is a huge win, just being able to get to this place. So great job if you stuck with it this far. And there's a lot more to come. So stay tuned to the rest. I'm not going to stop here. But now that we have our initial website set up, we're going to start to make this look a little bit better and feel a little bit better. And we're also going to use some more advanced tools. We're going to move away from Notepad or a basic text editor, and we're going to go into a code editor because now we need to start managing files, which is a different kind of ball game, and something that Notepad is not very good at doing. So thanks for sticking with me this far. If you have any comments or suggestions or questions, please leave them in the comments section. If you've missed any episodes, click on the playlist link down in the description, and that'll take you to the full playlist. So we're up to episode 12 now, and we're going to start transitioning into CSS, but maybe there are a couple more things that I want to cover as far as transitioning to a new sort of text editor and things like that. And yeah, if you have questions about FTP, I can try to help you. I would suggest first, if you have a web hosting account, look inside the initial email that your web host sent out. If you want a web host and you don't have one, I use a company called Site5, SITE5.com. I've used them for years, and they've been great to me. They've changed ownership to the same people who own HostGator, I think. And it's different than it used to be, but still serves my purposes. And I have so many things, it's hard to change at this point. Another one I've used recently is Bluehost, and they're really great too. And so there's several different web hosting companies out there. Shop by price first, because even GoDaddy is okay, I think, for like low-level web hosting. And with GoDaddy, you can get the domain and the hosting all at the same place. Same thing at Site5, you can do that too. So there's lots of different ways to go in that direction, and if people want more help, just leave the comments down in the comments section. I'll try to help you, but if there are enough, maybe I'll do a video suggesting what's a good web host to use, or the best top 2 or 3 or something. Or at least what to look for when you're looking at web hosting. So if you like this video, please click the thumbs up and help me out that way. And if you really like it, share it with somebody through social media. That helps a lot too. And come back for episode number 13, which will probably come out this week or next week. I still need to sort of make a decision on which way I'm going to transition the videos from now on. Well, thanks for sticking with us. I'm glad. I hope that you have it. If you have a website online and you've gone through this far and you like to share it with everybody, put it in the comments section. I'd love to see like what you're doing, and that someone is actually following this tutorial and putting their website online. That will make my heart very happy. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.